Okay guys, before we even get started with today's video, I knew as soon as I saw this that I had to go right at the beginning. Tactics can wait, but what cannot wait is the absolute destruction of Pedro Porro's ankles by Leandro Trossard. The amount of disrespect in this clip is just unbelievable. Pedro Porro is not sleeping tonight, tomorrow, the next 6 months. The man is broken both physically and mentally, and there's just no recovering from that ever. Alright, now let's actually get into the video. Arsenal Tottenham 2-1 final, and where do we begin? A tactical breakdown as best as we can, with the main themes being Arsenal's fantastic high press, Martin Odegaard's unreal ability to find spaces, Tottenham's 5 minutes of success, and finally Arsenal's kryptonite, their own forwards, or should I say lack thereof. I woke up angry and confused hearing rumors that Arsenal were going to try and get Martin Zubimendi, the same guy that turned down 10 other clubs, which is also the same number of holding mids that we already have, and also the total amount of money we're willing to spend on a forward when it comes to the transfer window. Today's game could not make the problem any clearer. Chance after chance over a 90-minute period, Arsenal looking like Arsenal 2022 with an energy and buzz that overpowered Spurs and their ability to play out of the back, but unfortunately with no end product. Raheem Sterling, Kai Havertz, even Martin Odegaard, not a single finisher who Arsenal can count on, and it seems like the hole is just getting bigger and bigger. And I want you guys to know that when I make these tactical analysis videos, I look at the performance, not the result. The performance was good, besides the finishing of course, and Arsenal looked much better than Spurs. But tactics can just be thrown out the window when it comes to the most important part of the game, and that's the scoreline at the end of it. Arsenal got away with it tonight, but it's clear that any opponent in the top 6 is going to punish them for being so wasteful. So let's come back to Arsenal's need for a striker and instead talk about some of the positives for Arsenal. The first one is the high press, and the man at the center of it all is Martin Odegaard. He makes the decisions when to go, he directs the players around him, and his intensity to put Spurs under pressure created a lot of opportunities for Arsenal. Sometimes they would slowly creep up, hunting for the ball as Spurs tried to build out, and sometimes Odegaard release himself or Havertz to go on a full-out press to force a mistake. And there's a lot of different ways to press. You can cut off one side, you can cut off the passing lanes, you can press from the front, or you can press from the back. But it seems like Arteta's happy with a mixture of them all. If we look at certain situations, they press behind the targets, trying to bait Tottenham to play the ball so that they can step in front and win it. And other times they press from the front, eliminating any possibility for Tottenham to play short, trying to force a long ball or be in high positions to score quickly if Spurs are stubborn enough to try and keep possession. Whatever way they do it, I found that Arsenal's high press was almost always successful, and they created more than enough opportunities to have finished off the game in the first half. It makes me think that a team like Chelsea would have really enjoyed this game with someone like Cole Palmer, who would have had a hat-trick for sure with all of those opportunities. I think Tottenham should have stretched out the game a bit more, as it was clear that Arsenal's press was much better than Tottenham's ability to build out through possession. And speaking of possession, this is where I noticed that Tottenham had a hard time figuring out how to prevent Arsenal from breaking lines, getting the ball wide, and eventually leading to Arsenal's 10 corner kicks. And it really was quite simple. Their press sucked, leaving big gaps centrally for Thomas Partey or Declan Rice, with players on the weak side not closing in quickly enough, and Tottenham also never being in good counter press positions. Those that don't know what a counter press is, it's the concept of being in ready positions for when the transition from attack to defense occurs and preventing the counterattack before it starts. Tottenham reacted slowly and never found out how to stop Arsenal's best player from getting on the ball. And to be fair, it wasn't as easy as it looks. Martin Odegaard tended to push out wider on the right side, away from always receiving in a central position and allowing Bissouma Sarr and Bergvall to mark him. Instead, he gave those spaces to his teammates and put himself closer to Havertz and Sterling, knowing that Tottenham couldn't bring Spence in to mark him and leave a winger wide open. Or at times, the wingers would even come in deeper, dragging the fullbacks to come in, and then Odegaard would take a higher space. And then when these spaces weren't open, he'd pop right back up in the middle, receiving on the attacking side of the defender so he could be in a forward position to create. The thing about Odegaard is that he's similar to Cole Palmer in the sense that as you prepare to face Arsenal, one of the key points should be to limit his touches on the ball. Assign someone to man mark him, follow him wherever he goes, and don't let them use him as an outlet. If you do that, you eliminate more than half of Arsenal's opportunities to score, and that also includes set pieces because Arsenal won't get up the field as much without him. If you don't do that, you risk losing the match. And while I usually respect Tottenham's philosophy and style of play, today it wasn't really a gamble. It was clear that Arsenal could not lose this game. And I know the score was only 2-1, but that was because Arsenal just can't finish. Tottenham's only dangerous moments in the entire match came in a span of less than 5 minutes, from their first chance in the 21st minute after a poor giveaway and defending from Timber, to their goal in the 25th after poor set piece marking and a little bit of luck from the deflection. Besides this, Tottenham were pretty terrible, and I'm not just saying that because I don't like them. Only 2 shots on target, 47% possession possession for a team that averages 57.6 and 0.78 expected goals. But hey, they did have more possession in their own half than Arsenal. And you may be looking at the stats saying Arsenal weren't that much better. And you're right. Arsenal's performance, in my opinion, wasn't as sensational as Arteta said.
I'm very proud of the team. I think we were sensational.
And the truth is that any Arsenal fan who was watching was also cringing at how extremely unathletic Sterling and Havertz looked in front of goal. What's that saying?
You couldn't hit the side of a barn.
Arsenal not only could not hit the side of a barn, they looked like they'd missed the ball completely. And I know I'm being extremely critical, but watching the game, I thought to myself, maybe I'd look at Arsenal's website to see if they're hosting any open tryouts soon. I'm 9 months out from post-Achilles rupture repair surgery, and I think Raheem Sterling is closer to retiring than I am. But all jokes aside, I hate to be that guy that keeps saying the same thing that everyone else is saying over and over. If Arsenal want to win the league, or any trophy for that matter, we shouldn't be entertaining any deals regarding players who aren't strikers. Clear as day, that's our biggest weakness, and if they don't have the money to buy one, then they should start making it clear to the fans that their target isn't to win the Premier League, it's to be top 4 and content with just making Champions League. And then at least the fans can decide how they feel about that, and if they're okay with being a good team but not a great team. And as for Spurs, enjoy the last few matches you guys have with Big Ange, because Daniel Levy isn't going to take the blame for you being 13th in the league. He'll just sack Postecoglou and move on to the next manager who's being set up for failure. So sorry I went on a rant, but as much as I love tactics and analyzing matches, I also believe that football is a simple sport. You typically have better players, you'll win more than you lose. But if you really want to win trophies, you need enough special players to make it happen. And having Odegaard just isn't enough. If you guys appreciated the tactical analysis, please consider subscribing and let me know in the comment section down below what you think. We'll catch you guys in the next one.